You've been carrying something tonight. And if you're honest, you've probably tried to set it down already. Tried to pray it away, think it through, reason yourself into peace. And it's still there. That's okay. Tonight, we're not going to try harder. We're going to sit with the words of Jesus and let them do what only they can do. There's an old man in Tennessee who used to lie awake the same way you are right now. One night, he opened his Bible to the red letters, not to study, just to hear. And something in his chest loosened for the first time in months. His words are still speaking, and tonight, they're for you. I want to tell you about a night that changed everything for a man named Earl. Earl was 73 years old, a retired farmer from a small town in eastern Tennessee, the kind of place where you know your neighbors by their porch lights and the sound of their screen doors closing in the evening. He'd lived a full life, raised 3 children, buried a wife he loved for 41 years, watched his hands go from strong and calloused to slow and stiff with age. He'd planted things and watched them grow, and he'd lost things and watched them go. And somehow he'd always come out the other side, still standing, still trusting. But the night I want to tell you about wasn't a night of triumph. It was one of those nights when everything felt like it had come loose at once. The kind of night that doesn't ask your permission before it arrives. His youngest son had called that afternoon with news Earl hadn't been prepared to hear. A health scare, serious enough that the doctors were using words Earl didn't want to repeat, even in his own mind. The kind of words that rearrange the furniture of your life without asking. And after he hung up the phone, he just sat there in his kitchen chair for a long time, staring at the linoleum floor, not moving, not praying, not doing much of anything except breathing and trying to hold himself together one breath at a time. The sun went down and Earl didn't get up to turn on a light. He just sat in the dark. Now, Earl was a man of faith, had been his whole life. He'd grown up in a little white church out on Route 11, where the preacher wore suspenders and read the red letters, slow and loud, so everyone could feel them land. Earl had heard the words of Jesus hundreds of times, maybe thousands. He'd heard them at funerals and at weddings and at Sunday morning services, where the ceiling fans turned slow overhead and the smell of coffee drifted in from the fellowship hall. He could quote them in his sleep. They were woven into him. But that night, sitting in the dark kitchen, something shifted. It wasn't a dramatic shift. There was no lightning, no sudden warmth, no voice from heaven. It was more like the kind of shift that happens when you've been holding your breath for a long time and you finally, without even deciding to exhale. He reached across the table, not sure why, just muscle memory, and pulled his old Bible toward him. The cover was soft with years of handling. The spine had been repaired twice with electrical tape. His wife had given it to him the year they got married, and her handwriting was still there on the inside cover. For Earl, who has always known where to look, he didn't open it to any particular place at first. He just rested his hand on it, like you'd rest your hand on the shoulder of someone you trusted. And then, slowly, he opened it. His eyes fell on words he'd read before. Words from the Gospel of John, chapter 14. Words that Jesus had spoken to his disciples on the night before he was crucified. A night when they too were sitting in the dark, afraid of what was coming, not sure how to hold what they'd been handed. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. Earl read it once, then he read it again, and something he wouldn't be able to explain it fully if you asked him. Something in his chest loosened just a little, like a knot that had been pulled too tight, finally finding the smallest bit of slack. Not because the situation changed. His son's health was exactly what it had been 5 minutes before. The fear was still there. The uncertainty was still real. The doctor's words still hung in the air of that small kitchen like smoke that won't clear. But Earl said later that it felt like someone had walked into the room. Not a presence he could see or touch, but a presence he could feel, steady and close, and not the least bit surprised by any of it. Not alarmed, not distant, just there. He stayed there for a long time, reading slowly through the red letters, chapter after chapter, the Sermon on the Mount, the stories he told to help ordinary people understand extraordinary things, the promises he made that nobody else in history had ever made and kept, the words about bread and living water and the Good Shepherd who leaves the 99 to go after the one that wandered off into the dark. These were words that had been spoken 2,000 years ago, and they had somehow crossed every mile and every year and every change in language and culture and calendar to land in a quiet kitchen in eastern Tennessee, on a night when a 73-year-old man needed them more than he'd ever needed anything in his life. When Earl finally got up and turned on the kitchen light, it was past midnight. He made himself a cup of decaf, sat back down, took it slow. He called his son back and didn't try to fix anything, just told him he loved him and that they'd get through it together, one day at a time. And before he went to bed, he wrote 4 words in the margin of that Bible, right next to the verse in John 14. Small letters, slightly unsteady, the way his handwriting had gotten in the last few years. He came in tonight. That's what Earl knew by the end of that evening. Not that everything was going to be fine in the way he might have wanted. Not that the fear was gone completely, or that the doctor's words had lost their weight, but that he was not alone. That the voice that had spoken those words was still speaking. That the same Jesus who had bent down toward frightened disciples on the eve of the cross had somehow bent down toward him, too, in a dark kitchen with a cup of coffee going cold on a Tuesday night in Tennessee. His words are still speaking, and I want you to hold on to that tonight, whatever your version of that dark kitchen looks like, whatever call you got today, whatever weight is sitting on your chest right now that you haven't been able to set down. He knows. He's not surprised by this night, and he came in for exactly this. Tonight I want to walk you through some of the most extraordinary words ever spoken, and I don't use that word lightly. There have been great teachers throughout human history, men and women who gave their lives to wisdom, who wrote books and built schools of thought and left behind ideas that shaped entire civilizations. Each of them offered their best understanding, the clearest view they could find from wherever they were standing. And many of those words were beautiful, worth sitting with. But when you read the words of Jesus carefully, really carefully, the way you'd read a letter written specifically for you, you begin to notice something that sets them apart from everything else ever spoken or written by any human voice. He didn't speak like a teacher offering his best understanding. He spoke like someone who already knew. Not someone working toward the truth, not someone reasoning his way to an answer. Someone who was the answer, and knew it, and was choosing, word by careful word, to hand it to ordinary people standing in front of him in the dust and the heat and the ordinary chaos of their ordinary lives. He said things no rabbi before him had ever said, no prophet, no king, things that, if anyone else had said them, would have sounded like madness or pride so enormous it would have collapsed under its own weight. But when he said them, something in the human heart has always recognized them as true, as if something deep inside us was always waiting to hear exactly those words. And when they finally arrived, something in us said, yes, that's it, that's what I've been needing. Let's sit with a few of them tonight. The first comes from Matthew chapter 11. Jesus is speaking to crowds of ordinary people, tired, burdened, worn down by life and by a religion that had become more about performance than presence. People who had been trying so hard for so long and still felt like they were falling short. And he says, "Come unto me, all that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Read those words slowly, and let them land where they were meant to land. He doesn't say, "Come unto me, those of you who have it together." He doesn't say, "Come unto me, those of you who have been faithful enough, consistent enough, good enough." He says, "All ye that labor and are heavy laden." Every last one of you who is exhausted. Every one of you who has been carrying something too heavy for too long. Every one of you who came here tonight because the weight just wouldn't lift on its own. He's talking about you. And his promise isn't a vague spiritual sentiment. It is a direct, personal, present tense offer. I will give you rest. Not eventually. Not when you've earned it. Not after you've fixed what's broken. Now, tonight. Here, his words are still speaking. And that word, rest, is the exact thing he's placing in your hands right now. The second comes from John, chapter 10. Jesus is describing his relationship to the people he loves. A relationship so close, so committed, so unbreakable that he reaches for the image of a shepherd who knows every sheep by name. And he says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand." Feel the weight of what he's claiming. He's not saying, "I will try to protect you." He's saying, "Nothing can remove you from my hand. Not your worst day, not your greatest failure, not the thing you're most ashamed of and don't like to think about after dark. Not the diagnosis, the divorce, the debt, the doubt. Not fear itself. Nothing. You are held tonight, not by your own grip on him, because some nights that grip feels very weak, but by his grip on you. And his hands do not tremble. They do not tire. They do not open. There's a reason Earl found those words so anchoring that dark night in his kitchen. Because when your own strength runs out and your faith feels thin, the promise was never that you had to hold on hard enough. The promise is that you are already held, that he is the one doing the holding. And the shepherd doesn't lose sheep. He goes after them. The third comes from John 14. The same chapter Earl opened that night. Jesus is in the upper room with his disciples on the last evening before the cross. The room is heavy with fears unspoken, and he looks at the people he loves most and says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." The world knows how to offer peace. It offers it in the form of solutions. Fix the problem and you'll have peace. Get the answer and the anxiety will lift. Wait for the storm to pass and then you can breathe again. But Jesus doesn't say that. He says, "My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth." His peace doesn't wait for the circumstances to change. It doesn't arrive after the doctor calls back with good news. It is a peace that exists inside the storm, not on the other side of it. A peace that held him steady on the water when the waves were crashing. A peace he is now handing to you. He doesn't give peace by removing the trouble. He gives peace by entering into it, by coming into the dark kitchen and sitting down beside you and being, in himself, the thing your heart has been searching for. His words are still speaking these three things to you tonight. Come to me and I will give you rest. You are held and nothing can take you. My peace, not the world's, is yours, right now. These are not promises for when life gets easier. They are promises for tonight. For the weight you came here carrying. For the question you don't have an answer to yet. For the fear that made sleep feel far away before you pressed play. He spoke them once, to real people in real pain. And because he is the same yesterday, today, and forever, he is speaking them still. I want you to slow down for a moment. Not just your breathing, though that too, but something deeper than that. The pace inside you. The part of you that has been running even while your body has been still. The part that keeps reviewing the day, replaying the conversation, rehearsing the worry, reaching forward into tomorrow to try to solve something that isn't here yet. As if thinking about it hard enough might somehow change what happens in the morning. Let that part slow down, just for right now, just for this moment, in this stillness, with whatever is outside this room staying outside it for a little while. Because what we've been sitting with tonight, these words, these promises, they don't work the way information works. You can't think your way into receiving them. You can't analyze them hard enough to feel their weight. They have to be received in a different way, quieter, slower, the way you'd receive something handed to you gently, with both hands, by someone who meant every word of the giving. So let's just be still for a moment and actually let them in. Think about the first word he spoke tonight. Come unto me, all that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Who does he say that to? Not the strong, not the ones who've had a good week, not the ones who showed up with their faith in perfect order, who prayed every morning and never doubted and never struggled to feel what they were supposed to feel. He says it to the ones who are carrying too much. He says it to the ones who are tired in a way that sleep alone doesn't fix. He says it to the ones who are here right now, in the dark, still holding something they can't seem to put down. And if you are honest with yourself right now, if you let yourself stop performing just for a few minutes, stop being the version of yourself that's managing everything and holding it together, is that you tonight? Have you been carrying something too heavy? You don't have to answer out loud. You don't have to explain it or justify it or make it make sense to anyone, including yourself. Just let the honest answer settle somewhere inside you, because he already knows it. He knew it before you came here. He knew it before this day began. And he said, come to me. Not, fix yourself and then come. Not, sort out the doubt and then come. Not, be stronger, pray harder, get your faith in order and then come. Come, exactly as you are, exactly as heavy as you feel, exactly as tired as tonight has made you. That invitation is not closed. It has not expired. It is open right now, in this room, at this hour. And here is what I find remarkable about that verse every time I sit with it. He doesn't say, I will teach you the path to rest. He doesn't say, I will show you the techniques for finding rest. He says, I will give you rest. Give, as in a gift. Something you don't earn, don't manage, don't produce through effort. Something you receive with open hands from someone who already has it and is choosing to give it to you. Rest tonight is not something you achieve. It is something you accept. Now think about the second thing he said. No man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. I want you to feel what that means for tonight specifically. Not as a doctrinal position. Just for right now, in this bed, in this body, with this mind that has been working harder than it should. You are held, not loosely, not provisionally, not on the condition that you've been good enough this week, consistent enough in your faith, or strong enough in your believing. Held completely, without condition, by hands that have never once dropped anything they decided to keep, and He has decided to keep you. There is something in most of us that believes, somewhere below the surface, that we are only as secure as our last good decision, that love is something we maintain by being enough, that we are always one failure away from being let go. But that is not what He said. He said, no man, no force, no failure, no dark night, no weight you've been carrying, no thing you've done or left undone. Nothing in this room right now can loosen what He is holding. You are in His hand tonight. Let that travel past your mind and land somewhere deeper in the part of you that's been bracing, that's been waiting for the other shoe to drop. You are held, and the one holding you does not grow tired. And then the third, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world's peace is always conditional. It waits for things to resolve. It depends on the outcome going the right way. Most of us have spent a great deal of our lives chasing that kind of peace, trying to arrange things carefully enough that we could finally feel safe, finally exhale without catching it halfway, finally stop scanning the horizon for what might be coming, and it never quite lasts. Because the world always has another uncertainty waiting just around the corner. And yet here is Jesus, on the night before the hardest thing He would ever face, with the cross just hours away, with betrayal already in the room, offering peace, not to people whose lives were sorted out, to people who were about to watch everything come apart. My peace I give unto you, His own peace. The peace that held Him still in Gethsemane, the peace that existed not because nothing hard was happening, but because He knew whose hands held the whole of it. That peace is not a feeling that requires everything to be fine. It is a presence. And tonight, that presence is here, in this quiet, in this room, just as surely as He was in Earl's kitchen that Tuesday night in Tennessee when a scared old man opened a worn Bible and felt someone walk in. His words are still speaking, and what they are speaking right now to you is simply this: you can stop bracing. You can let go of what you've been holding so tightly. You are known, you are held, you are at peace, not because your circumstances said so, because He did. And His words do not change. Let's pray together now. If you'd like, you can close your eyes. Let your hands rest open at your sides, or folded gently across your chest, whatever feels most natural to you. And just breathe for a moment before we begin. In through the nose, slowly, and out even more slowly. There's no rush here. There's nowhere else you need to be. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench, let your body know, as best it can, that it's safe to be still right now, that the striving is done for tonight, that you don't have to hold anything up, and when you're ready, let these words be yours. Lord Jesus, I come to you tonight exactly as I am, not as the person I wish I were, not as the person I've been trying to be, not cleaned up or sorted out or with everything in order. I come with the day still on me, whatever it left behind, whatever it stirred up, whatever I've been carrying since the moment I woke up this morning and started moving through the weight of it. Just me, right now, as I actually am. You said, come unto me, all that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And Lord, that is me tonight. I have been laboring, I have been heavy, I have been carrying things I didn't know how to put down, and turning them over in my mind long past the point where turning them over was doing any good. I've been tired in that particular way, the kind of tired that sleep alone doesn't touch, the kind that lives deeper than the body. And you said, "Come." So here I am. Not because I've earned it, not because I've been good enough, or faithful enough, or consistent enough to deserve a hearing, just because you asked me to come, and because tonight I finally have nowhere else to go. I bring you the weight I've been carrying, the worry that keeps circling back no matter how many times I try to set it down, the fear that doesn't have a clean answer, the uncertainty that makes it hard to breathe all the way to the bottom. I don't bring it because I figured out what to do with it. I bring it because you told me to, because you said you would give me rest if I came. And Lord, I am holding you to that promise tonight, as gently and as honestly as I know how. I believe you. Help me to believe you more than I believe my fear. I bring you the part of me that still wonders, even after all these years, even after all I've seen you do, whether I am truly secure. The part of me that performs, that tries to be good enough, that measures my standing with you by how well I've been doing lately, how consistent my prayer life has been, how strong my faith has felt. Lord, your word tonight said something that I need to hear all the way down, that no man can pluck me out of your hand, that it is your grip that holds me, not the strength of my own grip on you. And I confess, I often forget that. I live as though it all depends on how tightly I can hold on, as though the moment my hands get tired, I might slip. Forgive me for that, and remind me, gently and persistently, the way you do, that I am already held, that you decided to keep me, that your hands do not weaken and do not open, that the security I've been trying to manufacture is something you have already given, and it does not depend on my performance to remain. Let me rest in that tonight, not just understand it with my mind, actually rest in it. The way a child rests in arms they fully trust, not gripping back, not watching to make sure they won't be dropped, just resting, just being held. And I bring you the part of me that has been chasing a peace that the world cannot give, the part that has been trying, quietly and consistently, to arrange everything carefully enough that I could finally feel safe, finally exhale all the way, finally stop bracing for what might come next. Lord, I've spent so much energy on that, and it never quite works, because the world always has another uncertainty around the next corner, and the peace I've been looking for was never there to be found in circumstances. It was only ever in you. Your peace, Lord, the peace, Lord, the peace that is not as the world gives, the peace that held you in Gethsemane when the weight of everything was on you, the peace that kept you standing before Pilate, the peace that existed not because everything was fine, but because you knew completely, unshakably, whose hands held it all. That peace, that's what I'm asking for tonight. I open my hands to receive it. I stopped striving for it. I stopped trying to produce it by resolving the right things or thinking the right thoughts. I simply receive it from you as a gift right now, in this quiet room, in this body that is tired and needs to rest. Be here with me, Lord. I know you already are, but sometimes I need to say it out loud, just to remind myself of what is true when everything inside me feels uncertain. You are here. You are close. You are not standing at a distance, waiting for me to get my act together before you draw near. You are near right now, in this room, in this stillness, in this breath I am breathing at this very moment. His words are still speaking, and tonight what I hear them saying is this: that you came in, that you walked into the dark, that you sat down beside me, and that you are not leaving. Thank you for that. Thank you for words that were spoken 2,000 years ago and still land exactly where they're needed. Thank you for being the same yesterday, today, and forever, so that every promise you made to frightened people in that upper room on the night before the cross, you are still keeping tonight. For me, in this bed, in this quiet, I trust you with what I cannot control. I release what I have been holding too tightly, and I receive as best I can, with whatever faith I have left at the end of this day, the rest you promised, the peace you gave, the safety of being in hands that do not open. In your name, Lord Jesus. Amen. Take a slow breath now. Let that settle somewhere deep. You don't have to pick it back up. Whatever you brought into that prayer, whatever weight you named, even if only in your own heart, you can leave it there. He has it. That's what the giving is for, and He is faithful with everything you hand Him. The night is very quiet now, not the kind of quiet that feels empty, the kind that feels full of something you can't quite name, but that you recognize the moment you stop moving long enough to notice it. A settled quiet, a watching quiet, the kind that has always been here, underneath all the noise of the day, waiting for you to get still enough to find it. Let yourself sink into it. Somewhere out there tonight, the stars are doing what they always do, turning slowly in their ancient patterns, the same way they turned on the night David wrote the Psalms, and the same way they turned on the night Jesus walked out of a tomb and changed everything. They don't know about your worry. They don't know about the weight you brought into this bed. They just keep their slow and faithful rotation, and they have been doing it since before anyone was here to watch, and they will keep doing it long after tonight is a memory. There is something deeply restful about that kind of faithfulness, about things that do not need your help to keep going, about the parts of creation that just continue steadily while you rest. Think of the shepherds in the fields, not the ones from the Christmas story, though them too, but all the shepherds throughout history who have spent their nights under open skies, watching and waiting and trusting that the morning would come the way it always had. The night held no terror for them the way it sometimes holds terror for us. It was just the dark, and the dark was something you moved through, not something that meant you were lost, because the shepherd knew where home was, and the sheep knew the shepherd's voice. There is a farmhouse tonight, somewhere in eastern Tennessee, where an old man is sleeping peacefully. Earl, the man I told you about. The one who sat in the dark kitchen with the cold coffee and the worn Bible and wrote 4 words in the margin that changed the way he understood his nights. He came in tonight. Earl sleeps differently now than he used to. Not because his circumstances are perfect, they aren't, and he knows it. His son is still navigating the health scare that scared them both. The uncertainty didn't resolve itself the morning after that Tuesday night, but something shifted in how Earl carries it. He goes to bed now the way you'd go to bed in a house where you know someone trustworthy is keeping watch. Not careless, he still prays, still talks to the Lord about the things that worry him, but without the grinding, sleepless vigilance that used to keep him staring at the ceiling until 2 in the morning. He knows now what he perhaps always knew but couldn't feel until that night, that the keeping is not his job. Tonight, picture Earl's bedroom, the curtains moving slightly in the warm summer air coming through the screen, the Bible on the nightstand, the spine cracked with years of use, the margins dense with notes from a lifetime of sitting with these words in every season a life can hold, the small lamp he turns off last, the quiet that settles in through the window along with the sound of the crickets and the far-off sound of a dog barking once, and then going still, and the whole of the night going on around him peacefully. He folds his hands. He says, simply, "Lord, you've got it. Good night," and he sleeps. That is what it looks like when a soul has learned to receive what Jesus actually offered. Not the absence of hard things. Not a life arranged so carefully that nothing can hurt you. Just a settled knowing that the one who said, "I will give you rest," meant it. That the one who said, "No man shall pluck them out of my hand," is still saying it. That the peace he gives is not fragile, not conditional, not something you can lose by having a hard week or a dark night or a moment of doubt. It is the peace of a child who has fallen asleep in the back seat of the car, trusting completely that the driver knows the way home and that no part of the road ahead is a surprise to them. Outside tonight, wherever you are, the same sky that hangs over Earl's farmhouse hangs over you, the same stars, the same slow turning, and the same presence that came into his kitchen that Tuesday night is in your room right now. Not because you summoned him, not because your faith was strong enough to draw him close, but because he came, because that is what he does. He walks into the dark. He sits down beside the scared and the tired and the heavy, and he stays. Somewhere tonight, a river is moving in the dark. Over smooth stones it has been smoothing for 10,000 years. No one is watching it. No one is helping it. It just moves the way it was made to move, steadily, without urgency, in the direction it has always been going. And when the morning comes, it will still be there, doing the same faithful thing, carrying the same quiet current, indifferent to what the night was like for the people sleeping along its banks. You are being carried like that tonight, not swept away, carried in a current that is stronger than your worry and older than your fear, and moving, always, toward something good. His words are still speaking, and in the silence between them, something is being done in you that you don't have to manage or maintain. Something quiet and slow and thorough. Something that works best when you stop trying to help it and simply let it happen. Let it happen now. The night is doing its work. The stars are keeping their watch. And somewhere in a farmhouse in Tennessee, an old man named Earl is already asleep, hands folded, lamp off, Bible on the nightstand, resting in the most ancient of all truths, that the words of Jesus are true, that he came in tonight, and that the keeping belongs to him. You can close your eyes now. You don't have to figure anything out before morning. You don't have to resolve anything or decide anything or be stronger than you feel right now. You just have to let go, just a little, just enough, and trust that what is holding you tonight is more than enough to hold you through whatever tomorrow brings. It always has been. It always will be. Rest now. Just a few quiet truths now. Not a sermon. Not something to analyze or work through. Just words to let settle into you the way dust settles when the room finally goes still. The way a hand placed gently on a shoulder says everything that words can't. You don't have to respond to these. You don't have to decide if you believe them hard enough. You don't have to feel them move in you before they count. You don't have to be in the right place spiritually for them to be true. They are true regardless. And they are true for you, tonight, exactly as you are right now. Just let them be here. Let them land somewhere real. And let your breathing slow a little more with each one. You are not alone in this night. Whatever made tonight feel long, whatever you have been carrying since before the sun went down, whatever kept you from settling earlier, whatever is still circling at the edge of your mind even now, you have not been holding it without witness. The one who named every star and set them in their courses is the same one who sees this room right now. This bed, this tired soul at the end of a long day. You are not unseen. You are not forgotten. You are not one of the ones who slipped through the cracks while he was looking somewhere else. He was never looking somewhere else. He is here, and here, with him in it, is the safest place you have ever been. You don't have to have it figured out by tomorrow. There is a particular kind of exhaustion that comes not from the day itself, but from trying to solve tonight what can only be answered by time. From reaching ahead into days that haven't arrived yet, trying to arrange outcomes from a place where you cannot see far enough to know how anything resolves. You were not made for that kind of seeing. You were made to live one day at a time, held by a hand that sees all the days at once and is not troubled by what any of them contain. Let tomorrow belong to tomorrow. It has enough of its own. Tonight belongs entirely to rest. The worry you've been carrying does not have to come with you into sleep. You were never meant to hold it through the night. That was never your assignment. The psalmist wrote that God grants sleep to those he loves, and that word, grants, is the word you would use for a gift freely given to someone who could not have earned it. Sleep is something he gives. It is the body's deep and faithful act of trust of saying, someone else is keeping watch, and I am released from the keeping. Leave what you've been holding at the foot of the cross before you close your eyes. He has never once dropped what was given to him to keep. Not one night, not ever, not yours. You are known, not the version of you that manages everything and holds it together for everyone else in the room. Not the version that shows up capable and keeps the worry off your face so the people around you don't have to carry it too. Not the one with the steady faith and the graceful responses to hard things. The real one. The tired one. The tired one. The one who came here tonight because the weight got heavier than you could carry quietly anymore, and you needed somewhere to finally put it down. That one, that exact one, is fully known, fully seen, fully loved, without condition or performance required, and not going anywhere. He didn't come for the version you show the world. He came for the one underneath all of that. His words are still speaking, even now, even in this quiet, even when you cannot feel them moving in you or hear them as clearly as you'd like, even when faith feels thinner tonight than you wish it did. They are not silent. They were spoken by a voice that does not grow tired or distant, and they are still doing what they have always done, working in the hidden places, in the dark, in the slow and quiet depths of a soul at rest, making something true and steady out of what feels like very little. You don't have to feel it for it to be happening. You don't have to sense the work for the work to be real. It is enough that he said it, and he said it. You are held, not loosely, not provisionally, not on the condition that your faith felt strong tonight, or that you managed to release everything cleanly before your head hit the pillow. Held completely, without condition, by hands that do not tire and do not open, by something so much stronger than anything that pressed against you today that the comparison barely holds. You will not slip. You have never been close to slipping, and the one holding you has never once lost anything he decided to keep. The morning will come. It always does. Every night you were certain might not end has ended. Every darkness you thought was permanent has broken open into light, and the morning that is coming on the other side of this sleep will find you exactly where he left you, held and known by name, and not one moment further from him than you were when you finally closed your eyes. He will be there when the light comes, the same as he is here now, the same yesterday, today, and forever, with the same words, the same hands, the same quiet faithfulness that has carried you through every night that came before this one, including the ones that felt just like this one does. He came in tonight, into this room, into this quiet, into whatever this night has held and whatever it still carries. He walked in the way he has always walked in, without announcement, without waiting to be perfectly invited, because love does not wait at the door when the one it loves is sitting in the dark. He is here, and he is not leaving. So rest now. Let your body do what it was made to do. Let your mind release what it has been gripping. Let your hands unclench and your breathing deepen, and the long and heavy day finally, fully release its hold on you. You are safe. You are held. You are his. His words are still speaking, even now, even in the silence, even as you sleep. Good night. We've come a long way together tonight. You came here carrying something. Maybe you knew exactly what it was. Maybe it was more like a heaviness without a clear name, the kind that settles in and makes everything feel a little heavier than it should. Either way, you came, and that matters more than you might think, because showing up is the first act of faith. It is the body saying, I believe there is something here worth coming to, and there was, and you found it. Think about where we've been. We sat with Earl in his dark kitchen in eastern Tennessee, a tired old man with a cold cup of coffee and a worn Bible and news that had knocked the wind out of him. We watched him reach for the only thing he knew to reach for. And we watched what happened when the words of Jesus met him exactly where he was, not where he wished he was, not where he thought he should be, but right there in the middle of the dark. He didn't walk out of that kitchen with his problems solved. He walked out knowing he wasn't alone, and for that night, that was more than enough. His words are still speaking. That's what we've carried all the way through tonight. Not a technique, not a method, just a truth older than every worry you have ever carried, that the voice that spoke the world into existence has spoken directly to you. That he said, come to me, and meant it. That he said, I will give you rest, and hasn't changed his mind. That he said, no man shall pluck them out of my hand, and his grip has never weakened. That he said, my peace I give unto you, and the giving is still happening right now, in whatever is left of this quiet. You don't have to maintain any of that. You don't have to do anything to make it stay true through the night. It was true before you came here. It will be true when morning finds you, and it is true in every hour between, including the ones where you're not thinking about it, not feeling it, not consciously reaching for it at all. His words don't need your attention to keep speaking, they just speak. The morning after that Tuesday night, Earl got up and made his coffee the same way he always had. He called his son. He went about his day with the same stiff hands and the same slow pace. Nothing had changed and everything had changed, because he knew something now. Not something new, but something old that had finally landed deep enough to stay. He knew that he had never been alone in any of it. Not in the 41 years with his wife. Not in the grief after he buried her. Not in the hard seasons when the rain didn't come. Not in the ordinary Tuesday nights when the kitchen was quiet and the worry was loud. Not once, not ever. He came in tonight, that's what Earl wrote in the margin. But the truth is, he was always already there. Earl just finally got still enough to notice. And I wonder if that's true for you too. Not that he arrived here tonight for the first time, but that tonight, in this quiet, in the slowing down, you got still enough to notice something that has been true for a very long time, that you are not alone, that you are held, that the words he spoke 2,000 years ago were always also meant for this night, this room, for you. I want to leave you with one last passage. It comes from the very end of Matthew's Gospel, the last words Jesus chose to leave his disciples with. And he says, "Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world." Always. Not when your faith is strong, not on the good days only. Always, every single day, including the ones that knocked you down, including the seasons that felt like silence, including tonight, this exact moment, as sleep begins to come. Lo, I am with you. Not, I will try to be near. Not, I will be watching from a distance. I am with you, present tense, permanent, as sure as he was in Earl's kitchen, as sure as he was in that upper room the night before the cross. He is with you tonight, in this room, in this quiet, in the breathing that is already slowing, in the weight that is already beginning to lift. His words are still speaking. They always have been. And so I want to say what Earl says every night before he turns off the lamp in the bedroom with the summer air coming through, the screen and the Bible worn, soft with years of reaching. Lord, you've got it. Good night. He's got it. He's got you. Whatever this night has been, whatever you brought into it, it is in better hands than your own. The hands that were opened on a cross and are now open toward you, holding everything you cannot hold, keeping everything you were never meant to keep alone. So close your eyes now. Let your breathing go deep and slow. Let the night do what it was made to do. And know as surely as anything you have ever known, that when the morning comes, he will still be there, the same as he is right now, with the same words, the same faithfulness, the same quiet, unshakable love. His words are still speaking, even now, even as you drift, even in the silence, even in the sleep. He came in tonight, and he is not leaving. Good night. God bless you. Rest well.